You're watching HCAM TV.
Mike, you're supposed to let the intro music play a little bit, like to get into it. But anyways,
I was jamming.
You gotta let it play out a little bit for
Okay.
future reference.
All right, let's go.
Once I start talking, that's when you take it down. But in any case, welcome to HCAM Sports Talk Live. I'm your host, Tom Nappy, and we have a panel of guests today joining us. We have Mike Terosian on the show. We have Bob Hamilton on the show. We have Ethan Winter from the Metrowest Daily News on the show, and we have Andy Barron from Myfm 101.3. Ethan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Tom. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
Of course.
You a Dodgers fan?
Well, my cousin actually works for the Dodgers, so I was rooting for the Dodgers during the World Series and glad that they came out on top.
I guess that's a fair excuse. Well, congratulations to your cousin. And we have Andy Barrett from Myfm 101.3. Andy, how are you?
Doing well, Tom. How about yourself? Looks like some nice, beautiful, warm weather's coming in November after that nice snowstorm we had last weekend.
Well, that would certainly be nice after being outside for a number of games this week and freezing my butt off. So happy to the warm weather coming back. Mike, how are you?
Doing great. And I was with you there, enjoying some of that wind and chill there at Hopkins High School Fields. And I don't know if you guys have been to Hopkins Fields any time of the year, anytime you leave the parking lot and get to that football stadium, it's a 10-degree drop just walking down the hill, you know? Yeah. And then you add all the rain to it, all the winds. It's brutal. So you never dress for the parking lot. You got to dress for that stadium and add 10 degrees and a windbreaker.
Absolutely. Well, we have a lot to talk about, including some high school sports. And, of course, we'll have our NFL picks on the show. But why don't we take a look at what the Hillers have done recently? They had makeup games this past Monday and Tuesday. Games from this past Saturday and Sunday were postponed because of the snow that fell on the field. So we had all kinds of Hillers action for you this week. On Monday, November 2nd, we had girls soccer in the JV girls soccer game. It was a 1-1 tie against Ashland. Then in the varsity girls soccer game, Hopkinton took down Ashland 3-1. That was this past Monday. And then on Tuesday, we had a triple header of games for you. We had JV girls field hockey. It was a 1-0 loss to Ashland. The varsity girls field hockey game, a 3-1 win for the Hillers. And in the varsity boys game, a 1-1 tie with Ashland. Certainly always a competitive rivalry between Hopkinton and Ashland. And the Hillers Sports Madness continues this weekend. This weekend, they'll be taking on Bellingham on Saturday, November 7th, starting at 12:30. We'll have JV girls soccer for you, followed by the varsity game at 2:30. And then a little bit later in the evening at 5 p.m., JV field hockey and the varsity game at 6:45 p.m. And then on Sunday, November 8th, varsity boys soccer at 1 p.m. and JV boys soccer at 3 p.m. That's all this weekend, streaming live on HCAM Ed, as well as our YouTube page, youtube.com/HCAMTV. So we are approaching the last couple of weeks of the fall season for most of the leagues out there. And Ethan, I have to ask you, what are some of the games you've covered lately, and what's your experience been like, and who are some good teams that you got a chance to see?
So last night, actually, I went over to Westboro for the girls' soccer match against Shrewsbury. That ended in a 2-2 draw. That was the last game of the season for Westboro, and they finished the regular season 5-1-2 or 5-2-1, excuse me, and we'll be getting ready for the Pot 8 playoffs over there in Midwatch A with the likes of Algonquin, Wachusett, Leominster, and can't think of it, the other schools out there, but
Shrewsbury.
yeah, and Shrewsbury actually. And it was a good match. It was a cold out last
Oh,
night as
freezing these
well.
days.
But Shrewsbury scored twice in the last 2 minutes of both the first half and the third quarter to take a 2-1 lead, and then Westboro tied it up with in the 77th minute to make it 2-2, and so that's how that game ended. You can find that story online later tonight and afternoon on Metrowest or MilfordDailyNews.com, and you can also find it in tomorrow's morning's paper.
Yeah, the Midwatch League, they're always a competitive league in pretty much every sport. I do miss the days of Milford in the Midwatch League.
Yes, I do too. I do too. And they had a great Thanksgiving rivalry with Shrewsbury that ended when they moved over to the Hockomock. But I would not be opposed to see Milford back in the Midwatch if that's what they end up wanting to do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun rivalries. I think the locations in the Hockomock probably a little closer to Milford.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, especially when if you're in Milford and you have to travel up to Leominster or Wachusett, those can be a bit of a hike. But the new Thanksgiving rival, which is getting delayed another year because of COVID, Taunton, that's not all that close either. I think it's 45 minutes
Yeah,
down 495.
that's a good hike.
It's you're gonna have to travel somewhere no matter what league you're in.
Right. That's just kind of the way it is all throughout. How are the schools doing over in the Midwatch as far as COVID and all that stuff? Any concerns with any of the schools, or are they all doing pretty well?
Well, as far as I know, there hasn't been any Halloween parties like Franklin. But they seem to be doing pretty well in terms of COVID and following those protocols. They've been very clear about the protocols at each of their schools in terms of what they are asking media to do. And I mean, it's definitely strange not having a lot of fans at these games, but like Paul Mumby said last night, I mean, at least we're playing, and that I think that's the mindset of most everyone that's playing, that's been able to play this fall.
Yeah, we certainly want to see all the athletes on the field, and we know that there is maybe some difficulties getting some of the winter sports going. We're hoping for the best, but it's not looking great right now, especially for hockey and basketball. But we'll wait and see what happens, as you have to do in this crazy year. But it is good to see the athletes getting out there. And from what I see overall at the games, it seems like they're really starting to adjust to the rule changes in field hockey and soccer as the weeks go on. They're getting better and better with it. So that's certainly good to see. The Hillers, they've been playing well. They have a good team this year. It's a shame that we won't have a long season for the girls team, because I think they could go far, but a lot of the great rivalries in the States staying intact, as it's mostly division rivalries this year, but we'll see what happens in winter sports. Ethan, Andy, have you heard anything about any details about the winter sports? Is there any possibility at all we'll see any hockey or basketball?
You can go ahead first, Andy.
Yeah, thank you, Ethan, and thank you for all the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Of course, you know that the MIAA has canceled all their state tournaments. New England has also canceled all of their indoor regional tournaments as well. There's going to be a lot of challenges, and I really don't want to be negative, because there's been so much negativity throughout this whole year with everything going on. But I have to be realistic as well. when I was covering, independent baseball for Myfm this summer, I know Tom was covering the Ashland Sevens as well. It's a lot different when you're outdoors. Baseball is one of those sports where you can spread out. Same thing in the fall, you're outdoors. But now when you start moving indoors, this is going to be a problem. It really is. And the one thing that really concerns me the most is, can the schools avoid having that major breakout of the virus? Because we have to start asking ourselves these questions. We've avoided it so far, but what's going to happen when you start moving everyone into enclosed places, especially in hockey rinks where it's a lot colder and people are circling around? Same thing with basketball, because basketball, hockey, wrestling are considered those high risk sports. Now, another issue is with indoor track. A lot of these major facilities are closed. Reggie Lewis Center is closed. They're not letting anybody in out there.
Right.
Where are
Yeah.
you going to be able to hold these meets? That's the problem. We don't really have
Winter
major
outside track.
Well, yeah. I mean, you might have, maybe. I mean, it could be a possibility, Tom. But there's not many field houses around. I mean, Franklin has a field house, but it's not a short track. It's a short track, and it's just, there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to cram all these teams into one place. It's not going to happen. I think a season could happen, but we just have to start being realistic. Listen, I really like the way the Tri-Valley went about it this year. The same thing with the Hockomock. You have to start thinking this is probably going to be the way going forward throughout next year.
Yeah, for me, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to play basketball with it looking like basketball. Like, unlike how field hockey and soccer, while they had their modifications, it still looked like those sports. And even with all the issues that hockey has been having in terms of these breakouts at these rinks, I think if they're able to get it under control in the locker rooms, because that's where it seems to be these outbreaks have been occurring.
I believe all the rinks are closed throughout the state right now.
They're closed for 2 weeks right now.
Exactly. But
Probably going to be longer.
yeah,
Right,
unfortunately.
but assuming like you, Andy, I want to try to be optimistic here. Assuming that they are able to open up the ranks and get the locker rooms under control, I think hockey is a sport because of just how covered you are from head to toe. And if you get those little fishbowl face shields on these hockey helmets, then I think you could be able to play hockey this winter. And that's at least what I'm hoping. Now, the Bay State Conference, I saw that they had a tweet out recently saying that their ADs are going to have a meeting in terms of and discussing moving back the start of their winter sports season a week to December 7th, or no earlier than December 7th, even if the EEA and DESIs give the MIAA the go-ahead to start winter sports on November 30th, like the original plan.
Well, first off, too, you got to also remember Massachusetts is famous for our hockey rinks being the worst place in the world for any kind of decent air quality. They've always been bad, since the gas and diesel Zambonis and so forth. Yeah, all right, they got rid of them, but still, even with the electric Zambonis, they still have air quality issues. They always have. Loring, I believe, just put in a whole state of the art in their facility, and here they go. They're not going to be able to have a season at all. Thank goodness it's one of those town-owned things because they can handle being closed, unlike a for-profit
Right,
rink.
yeah.
So and the others are going to last too because they're just managed by big firms and they're all MDC rinks. But the air quality has always been a bad thing. But I think if they do it right, and make sure all electric Zambonis and decent HVAC, no fans, just let the kids play and let it get over with. But
Maybe some outdoor hockey.
Yeah,
Well,
I love pond hockey, but as you've probably noticed the last few years, ever since I think it was the winter of 2014 or 2015 when we got all that snow, our winters have been pretty mild, so that would be an issue for pond hockey.
Well, I
Right.
think well, we had a great idea, Tom and I, as we're watching field hockey. Let's get them on the field with some street hockey sticks. Or, Hudson has that beautiful outdoor roller hockey rink behind the fire station there, and there's a couple ideas like that. Get them outside.
Yeah, maybe invent some new sports that could take place outside.
I do want to say that probably the most socially distant sport that you could imagine occurs in the winter, and that is downhill skiing and cross country skiing.
And speaking of that, we're going to try to cover some alpine skiing for the Hopkinton Hillers this winter. So
Right.
we're
Where do
looking
they ski, Tom? Anyways,
They
Blue Hills.
ski out of Ski Ward in Shrewsbury.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ward
Thanks,
Hill. Yeah.
thanks for saving me there, Ethan. 'cause I
Oh,
totally
you're
forgot.
welcome, Tom.
I knew where it was.
But real quick, gentlemen, too. Do you really just say to yourself, though, all the stuff we're talking about, is it just better just to move it to the fall too, really? Like, you have that option. You have that option. And I know they want to get football in as well, starting in the fall too. But do you just say it's like, if it's going to be all these modifications and with the cases just, and all the new regulations that just came out from Massachusetts the other day?
Well, I think one of the problems with that is then you have student athletes picking and choosing what sports they want to play.
Yeah.
There's a lot of multi-sport athletes that do football and hockey, or two common sports that athletes will do together, or basketball. So that would be tough to have football, basketball, and hockey all going at once when there's so many multi-sport athletes on those teams. You might not even have enough. Maybe you'll have enough just for a varsity squad and you cut out the freshman JV program, but I think
Right, and then for the schools that have volleyball and have moved volleyball to fall
And soccer,
too, then you got at least in girls volleyball, a lot of those girls volleyball players also play basketball,
right.
and that can be an issue as well in terms of the picking and choosing.
Yeah, volleyball and basketball. That's a good one. You get a lot of basketball players playing volleyball and vice versa. And we do want to let everyone know out there, if you have a question or comment, you could comment on our Facebook or YouTube live stream, and we'll be happy to respond if we feel like it.
Wow, you're a great host there, Tom.
As long as it's good. As long as it's a good question, no problem.
Yeah, we don't want any bad.
No, we'll respond. We're friendly here, folks.
We are.
Absolutely. So, we don't know what's going to happen with winter sports. Has anyone heard anything about swimming? I mean, you're in a pool with a bunch of chlorine. Is that a possibility?
Tom, I know the Milford High School pool as the Milford Community Use. We just had a few people on a couple of weeks ago on the buzz, and they have reopened with limited restrictions. It's a really, the Milford pool. It's a really good facility. Right. You have a balcony up there, and Milford is noted for their swimming and team as well. So, this is something I believe you can do, but again, there's just a lot of the pools are not open. That is the problem. And now the other issue with things having to close by like 9 o'clock, you just can't. It's just going to be it's going to be really hard to do. I really feel so bad for these athletes. And college, and getting into college too, guys. You're already seeing this. The dominoes are falling everywhere, especially in the Division II and Division III. It's only just a matter of time before they probably just nix the seasons as well. And but it's just going to be really, really difficult these next 6 months or so.
The big thing too is these pools here. You're not allowed to use locker room space, so that means you got to go dressed. That means the kids are just going to strip, and they do. They leave their practices in wet bathing suits. They pull their sweats on in their coats, and then they get in their cars or their bus.
Talk about hypothermia.
Right, but you also, and the reason we know that, and one of our volunteer camera operators, Eve Weatherhead, she's on a club team. In her practice, that's what they're doing. They're not allowing them into the locker rooms. So, one of the big reasons is handling the cleanup in between. We watch the sports go, field hockey, right? Every quarter, the AD goes out there and sanitizes the ball that nobody touches. So there's this stuff that can be done, but imagine cleaning a pool and locker rooms and so forth. There's no way you could clean it properly you're gonna need, like, we'll say, an hour and a half to clean a locker room, and how are you gonna get a couple meets in there?
Well, in the pool, can't you just throw a little extra chlorine in there and?
We're
Right.
talking about
Yeah.
yeah, we know.
I think
This is why we don't work for the CDC, Tom.
We're not scientists or
No, we're not.
no,
anything
not at all.
medical, so don't
You're
listen.
a sports surgeon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said, I'm not a scientist, but
I
just
play one on TV.
thinking that, I mean, chlorine is used to keep the pools clean.
Right.
So you would think, I don't know, that might help a little bit in terms of the cleanliness of the facilities. But I also want to point out that in the fall, the Bay State Conference was doing swimming, and they actually had the teams compete from two different venues at the same time, and then they just the coaches reported the scores to each other and determined the winner that way. So I think if we do go ahead with swimming in the winter, then I would expect to see a similar type of format where you have two schools competing against each other from two different venues, and
That's
then
fantastic. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Was it
Yeah,
like
it
a
is.
boys girls split squad, or was it just one of the teams?
So I didn't cover this meet myself, but our friend Kevin Stone, one of our stringers, he covered I think it was Wellesley and Needham swim meet, and that's how they did it. And there was also no cheering either. It was more like a golf clap, which was interesting, because when you think about it, like when you're in a pool, like that's part of the atmosphere is that it's like so loud with everyone yelling and cheering, and the pool being an echoey building. So that was definitely a unique experience for Kevin. But I really do think if swimming is a go in the winter, then I think we could see that layout, that format.
Yeah, I mean, I think swimming you could make work, and I
Yeah,
think it's probably one of the most clean sports out there, if you will, because you're in a pool full of chlorine, you're wearing your own bathing suits.
That's it. But you also have to get to the venue.
Right. I mean,
You know,
Right,
it's
yeah.
not. You get all that involved. Yeah.
But that's the same with any other sport that's going on right now too. It's
Well,
the
but they're outdoors.
transportation.
But they're outdoors.
Sure,
There's
yeah.
the thing. We're outdoors. So yeah, it's good. That's why they have, the one school plays the other school all weekend, and they have the one bus brings the team there and takes them out. Then another bus brings the team there, takes them out. So I mean, the school. This is going to be an expensive year for school athletics.
Oh,
Hopefully they're not looking for any new scoreboards or anything like that this year, because they're going to be spending on bus feeds, sanitizer, wipes. It's really something. I mean, granted, they're saving money on their coaching staffs.
yeah, very
because-
little though.
Right. No, what I'm saying is they are saving money, because normally at these venues, there's usually about a half dozen teachers all on stipend getting, doing crowd control and whatever. But now you only have the AD who's at every game and he's salary. You have his assistant and you have a trainer, which now like I said in past broadcasts, the trainer is there for the whole game instead of bumping from all, like in Hopkins, 13 fields of games, driving around, just being on a radio. They're there for the whole time, which is excellent. So, but the staffing is down, but the cost is going up with all the safety that they have and all the precautions they have to do in between. And the buses, the bus companies are doing very well right now.
Yeah, I would imagine that the bus companies are pretty happy. But then you see schools doing what the TVL's doing. Really is they have all the games on the weekend because it's easier for the buses. They need more of them, so they have to have more available. But you have something different going on really in every sports league just to make things work and to make sure there's officials And that was some of the main reasons the TVL did everything on the weekends. It was for the buses. It was for the official availability.
Right.
Since most of the divisions I've seen are during the week. But I guess really this is a year of whatever works, do it, because you certainly have to work around a lot of obstacles.
What I guess the other question I have too is, and I don't know if anybody knows this, but what is going to happen if the schools are starting to go remote? Like if they have to go full remote, I mean, are they going to be allowed to play? I mean, I think
So I've had a number of conversations with Pete Boucher over at Milford, and he said in a recent story that I wrote that at the beginning of the fall season, it sounded like originally that if as soon as a school went into the red and had to go into remote, that's it. They had to stop sports, but and go remote. But it seems now, as the fall season has gone on, that there's been a little bit more leeway because the commissioner of education wants to keep kids in school as much as possible. So he said that a school can stay open in terms of doing a hybrid or in-person learning for up to 3 to 4 weeks of data if a community isn't considered to be in the red, because there could be situations where something that has nothing to do with the school is what put that community in the red. And there's also been a lot of conversations with the local board of health and trying to determine that. And so I think that's going to continue in the winter. And that's what I hope, at least, continues into the winter, where there's a lot of communication back and forth between schools, administrators, and the local board of health, and trying to keep the schools open as long as they can until they can't anymore, really.
Yeah, we've talked with Peter Boucher plenty of times. He's a great guy, and he's really very informative. And I think they want to keep this going as long as possible. In Milford now, we're 4 weeks in the red, and the cases are going up, unfortunately. So that's just one of the things that I think it has to be on everybody's mind.
Right.
Going forward.
And Pete, I mean, he would probably know because he is on the MIAA COVID-19 task force, so he's very involved and intimate with those conversations that task force has been having throughout the year.
Is Milford's not remote now, as far as I know?
Still hybrid.
Has there been any talk?
My daughter's in the Milford public schools, and we've been getting a lot of positive tests over the last couple of weeks, and there's some rumblings going around. I don't like to pay attention to rumors, but I think eventually they're going to have to do it, and it just seems like it's going in that direction. They've already sent us out emails preparing us that for a remote schedule, and I think they're just probably trying to be prepared as well. But unfortunately, it seems like it is going in that direction. But time will tell.
Absolutely, just like everything else this year, time will tell. Hopefully, we won't have to see any local schools go fully remote. I know it's a big inconvenience for the parents out there, and kids want to be in school. They enjoy it. They get to see some friends, even if they have to wear a mask. I think a lot of kids would rather be in schools just for the social
I was the joke of the day yesterday too, because my car died when I was picking up my daughter at school. So I tied up the line, and
oh no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Especially I've been through this, being a man in a line and causing trouble like that. All the ladies would be all over you.
Oh yeah, I felt like Mr. Mom there with Michael Keaton.
Are they all beeping at you?
Yeah.
Don't you know the system? You're not supposed to be this long.
Not a good day yesterday. But I got towed. Arch towed. Oh, never mind. Sorry.
That sounds like something you'd see on an episode of Seinfeld or something.
I'll tell Brad you said thank you.
Yeah, the towing company was very nice to me, so they got me out of there.
Excellent.
Well, that's good. Well, as we always say, we'll wait and see what happens this winter. But I think there'll definitely be skiing because that is a very social distance sport. And I'll say I'm 50-50 as if they'll be swimming right now, but I guess I would lean towards more of a positive way on swimming. I think there'll be some swimming, but we don't know. So that's just all guesswork. We're hoping that eventually there'll be some hockey and basketball, but I think cases have to drop for that. And we have to have that downward trend again to start doing some indoor sports. And then you got to remember, there's a lot of schools out there like Hopkinton that are using their gymnasiums as classroom space since they have to social distance all the students. And I know there's other schools doing that as well. So I don't think the custodial staff would be too happy having to clear all those desks every single day for a game, but I'm sure they would do it to let the kids play. So we'll wait and see. We're hoping for the best, and hopefully this virus will just go away. But in any case, we have some NFL picks to make for Week 9, and we'll go through each game that's going to happen during the week. And Bob, you want to join us to do picks? Feel free.
There he is. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I want to pick these. These are great games. Oh, yeah. I can't wait to see the Jets play.
Well, last week we all did pretty bad. There was a lot of upsets, though.
Tom, how did I do the week that I did it for Metrowest?
Let's see. That was a few weeks ago.
We don't keep those records, Ethan.
I got to dig through the archives for that. Oh, I think, is that you? No, that's not you. Oh, here you are. You went, looks like 10-6.
Not bad.
So not bad. That was like week 4 or 5.
It's a playoff team.
So last week I went 7-7, and Bob and Mike, you ended in a tie at 8-6.
8-6. Yeah.
Yippee. Yeah.
I've had a rough couple of weeks. I got to get better at these.
I don't know what happened to the Falcons, where they came from. That ruined me.
Yeah, that ruined no one picked them, so it ruined everybody. The last time Andy was on, he didn't do so good. So
No, I did not. I was terrible.
He went 8-6 last time he was on, but actually so did I that week.
It's
So.
just not too bad. Not too bad. But...
Was that the week I won? Was that the week I won?
Yeah, but you probably cheated.
Yes. I know this good because I'm from the future. I know all these things.
Yeah. I think you edited the program, so you changed your picks.
So in any case, let's start off with Thursday Night Football, and and I apologize as I adjust my computer here. And believe it or not, we got a decent Thursday Night Football matchup. We've had a couple of rough ones lately. We have a Jimmy Garoppolo-less San Francisco 49ers taking on the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, they had a big upset last week. Rough loss to the Minnesota Vikings. They're 5-2 on the season. San Francisco's 4-4, and the 49ers having all kinds of injury issues. I see them going nothing but downhill. I'm going Green Bay in this one. Bob, what do you got?
Actually, I picked the 49ers. I think they're going to bounce back this week.
If you hit that pick, you are a legend.
Yeah.
If he does that, I'm not coming on the show again.
After what the Falcons did, I got to start picking some never mind.
Out of left field picks.
Yeah, out of left field.
So CJ Beathard is going to beat Aaron Rodgers, according
Absolutely.
to Bob. Mike,
Aaron Rodgers is a has-been.
I love it.
Well,
Maybe after last week, he will be.
With that being said, I'm going with the has-been. I think he's going to do a passing game that's going to just kill the Steelers.
It's the 49ers.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
He
still
doesn't
thinking,
even know what he's picking.
I was thinking of the last
so
game.
well,
Sorry.
kill the Steelers.
I don't think anyone can kill the Steelers this year.
No.
Yeah.
Andy, who are you going with?
Well, actually, the 49ers have just closed their facility today because Kendrick Bourne did test positive for the coronavirus.
Ooh.
So what's going to happen with this game? He's clearly not going to be able to play. A.J. Dillon just tested positive for the
That's
Packers
right.
earlier this week. So
Former BC guy.
yeah, Ethan. And I don't know. I mean, this is
Could they move it to Sunday?
well, as of now, the
okay?
NFL said that they are planning to play it as scheduled. They're waiting if any more positive tests do come out. This has been not a very good week again for the NFL this week, but I
Right.
am going to take the Packers. I just don't think the 49ers are going to be able to muster enough offense, not like what they did against the Patriots. But
The
I
good
will
news is
take-
the good news is we're picking as of Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's the good news.
that's the good news,
Right.
Mike. Yeah,
That's the
I
good
am going
news,
to take
yeah.
Green Bay.
All
So
right.
the 49ers, we mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo is out.
Right.
Greg Kittle is also out. I think he's on IR.
Kittle is out. Yep.
So you really got a very depleted 49ers team. I think the Packers are going to be motivated after getting embarrassed by their rivals and to the
Yeah,
getting
that was a rough loss.
ran
Horrible
all over
loss.
by Dalvin Cook to the joy of my fantasy football team. So
Mine too.
I'm gonna go with the Packers.
All right.
Go
Yeah,
Pack
and
Go.
we had a big win last week thanks to Dalvin Cook. That was wonderful.
Same.
I
I
badly
needed it.
needed
I was on a 3-game losing streak, so I needed that win.
I was about in the same situation. All right, we have the NFC East Championship, the 1-7 New York Giants and the 2-5 Washington Football Team. This is a coin flipper. I don't know. Washington's at home. I'll take them. Bob, what do you got?
Actually, I took the Giants.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's a toss-up, like you said, but I just think the Giants got to do something. I don't know about Washington. Washington's going to be in such a mess for the next few weeks anyway. It's not going to make a difference.
And by the way, the Giants played a nice game against Tampa. They almost won.
Yeah.
Almost.
I won in my other fantasy matchup because of Daniel Jones finding Golden Tate in the back of the end zone at the end of regulation. So I'm happy that the Giants helped me win my fantasy team, but I'm gonna go with the team at home. I think that's what you have to do in these coin flip games, just go with the home team, and so that's the Washington Football Team.
All right. Mike.
Well, this game matters because in the division for them, it's going to be a tough fight. I think, you got Washington coming off the bye, and New York is on a short week because they just played. I'm going Washington because I hate the Giants.
I like it.
The long way around for the short answer, right? Yeah, no, definitely Washington.
And last but not least, Andy.
I actually got to admit, I thought the Giants, I thought they played well against Tampa Bay. I thought they very easily could have won. Listen, they're not a good team, but they do play hard for Joe Judge. I have to give them credit. And Sterling Shepard came back last week. He's made the team move a little bit better. I mean, I can't even believe we have to pick this game, but I'm going with the Giants.
We don't discriminate here. We pick every game.
Oh,
Even
you
the
believe one of those
ties.
teams really could win that division? It's just, I can't
They
even wrap my
have
head
a
around it.
legit shot.
They do.
have a legit
That's right.
Awful.
I think the Eagles are going to win it, but
Probably. Yeah.
and
I'd like to see.
the Cowboys have what, their fifth string quarterback going right now?
Andy Dalton's also on the COVID list as well. So yeah,
Oh, that poor guy gets a bad concussion and then he gets COVID.
unbelievable.
He's having a rough time over there in
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah.
I think that team's cursed or something.
Jerry Jones.
Yeah. As soon as he goes away, they'll start winning Super Bowls again.
Oh, Jesus.
It's the Weedham boys curse. The 5-3 Bears at the 5-2 Titans. This game's going to be a good one, I think. And I have a feeling there's going to be a defensive slugfest. And the Titans had a bad loss last week. I forget what the Bears did. I think they lost.
Bears lost in overtime to the Saints, and
That's right.
the Bengals. Joe Burrow does it again. They beat the Titans.
Yes, Cincinnati starting to look decent. Joe
Both
Burrow's
teams are on losing streaks too. 2 games.
Yeah, this is a tough pick for me. I'm going to go Titans. I think they rebound this week after that rough loss they had last week. Bob, who do you got?
I've been picking the Bears every week. I'm picking the Bears again. I think they got to finally come through for me. So it's the Bears.
And what, you've lost like 3 weeks in a row picking the Bears?
That's right. But since I came from the Midwest originally, I'm not giving up on the Bears.
All right, I like it.
They're like the Cubs.
Andy, who do you got?
Yeah, tough one. I think Tennessee's kind of faltered a little bit the last couple of weeks. They had a tough loss to Pittsburgh. They had a tough loss with Cincinnati. The Bears are kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team. Yeah, this is a tough game to pick. Is the game in Tennessee or is it in Chicago?
Tennessee.
Yeah, they will have some fans in Nashville. So I'm going to go with the Titans this week.
All right. Ethan, who do you got?
The Bears played the Saints tough last week. The Titans played awful against the Bengals last week. So I think I'm gonna go with the Bears again.
All right.
And I was right last time when I picked the Bears too. So
you're giving Bob some luck now.
Yeah, right.
Mike, who do you got?
Well, I'm looking at Titans have the major issues on defense. The Bears have the major issues on offense. But, what's going to give, and I think this week what's going to give is going to be the Bears. The Bears offense is going to get it going. It's going to be close. I'm going to call, something like a 28-27 kind of game. I don't even think they're going to hit 30s, but 28-27, somewhere around there.
That's still high for this game, I think.
And it's going to be the Bears.
I think this will be like a 20-17 kind of game.
Yeah, I think the offense is what's going to move, even though I like Andy's point the most about they're at Tennessee too, so it could go either way. But I'm gonna try my side with the Bears because I like Bob.
All right, sounds good. It's a nice split on that one. Well, maybe we'll have a split on this one. The 3-4 Detroit Lions at the 2-5 Minnesota Vikings. After last week, when Minnesota's done this a couple times. I think it was the Raiders. They dominated one week, and then they were awful the next week. And then they take on Green Bay. They look great. The defense looks great. The running game. And then will they be awful next week? I don't know. I'm optimistic. I think Minnesota's coming around. I'll go with the Vikings. Let's see. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Vikings. They won in Green Bay. They did it the old-fashioned way, pounding the ball. So I think they're gonna go on a streak. The Lions, yeah, they're the Lions. It's gonna be a good game. Maybe one touchdown difference, probably two, but I'm guessing one. So I'm definitely Minnesota.
All right, Ethan.
I think the Vikings don't have Stephon Diggs anymore. He's in Buffalo, so they just gotta go with their identity, and that is to pound the rock. I mean, I need Dalvin Cook to have another great game this week, like he did last week. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
All right, Bob.
Yep, I'm going with the Vikings this week. I think maybe they found their game. We'll find out this week. I don't have any faith in the Lions.
I think you are a Viking, Bob.
Yeah.
Andy, who do you got?
These have got to be the two most inconsistent teams in the NFL. With all the talent that the Vikings have, because Adam Thielen, I believe, is a top 5 receiver. That guy is awesome. But it's like one week they stink, and the next week they're great.
Right.
Same thing with the Lions, too. I'm going to take the Vikings, though. They clearly have more offense than the Lions do, but we'll see what happens. It'll be an ugly game, but I'm going to take the Vikings.
All right, Vikings across the board. I think maybe we'll have another one across the board on this one, but maybe I'm wrong. 3-5 Panthers at the 7-1 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to pick the Panthers? Just speak up.
Crickets.
3, 2, 1. Okay, Chiefs locked in. All right, here's the matchup of the week. The 1-6 Houston Texans at the 1-6 Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow, both of these teams are just a mess. I think the mustache from Minshew's no longer working its magic. I think the Jags are maybe slightly more of a mess than the Texans. Texans just off the bye week. I'll go Houston in this one. Mike, who do you have?
Yeah, definitely Houston. Houston. The Jaguars defense is awful. Yeah.
All right. Bob.
Yeah, I picked the Texans myself.
All right.
They're both terrible, but
They are both terrible.
my
Some of you-
kind of teams.
Yeah, they should maybe move them to the NFC East, and they'll have a shot at the playoffs. And same thing with the Patriots, by the way.
Yeah.
Andy, who do you got?
Oh my goodness. I mean, well, I tell you what, I really like Romeo Crennel because he was such a great coach here with the Patriots, and he's so well liked all around the league. The Jaguars are a mess. Both teams are a mess. This could be a 6-3 game, but I'm going to take the Texans.
Wow, you think that low?
I think Watson will put up. Watson has put up points.
Yeah.
Ethan, who do you got?
The Texans have the better quarterback, even though Bill O'Brien traded away his best weapon. I still think the Texans and Deshaun Watson have enough to beat the Jaguars.
Absolutely, I have to agree. And fresh off that bye week, and Crennel, he's 1-1 as a head coach for them, so that's a 500 record right there.
Jaguars quarterback. It's his first start this week, right? First time. Luton. Latin.
Sure.
I'm asking. Help me out, guys.
Somebody look it up. All right, we'll get back to that. Who cares about the Jaguars quarterback?
I was just saying that.
If it ain't Minshew, I don't care.
All right, I'll be back later. I'll email the rest of my stuff. See ya.
Okay. The 5-2 Ravens at the 5-2 Colts. Baltimore, I picked them last week to beat Pittsburgh. What a great game that was. Colts got a nice win last week too. Both of these teams are playing well. I'm gonna go. I'll go Baltimore on this one. Let's see. We'll start off with Ethan.
I think the Ravens bounce back. I think the Colts are beneficiaries of playing in a somewhat weak division with their 5-2 record. But the Ravens clearly have the better talent at almost every position. Bill Rivers is the better arm, but I think Lamar Jackson's more electrifying. So I'm going to go with the Ravens.
All right, Andy.
I think the Lamar Jackson has kind of been figured out here. He just doesn't do it for me. Like I think since he got pounded by Tennessee in the playoffs last year, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. But I'm not really sold either on the Colts. I think I agree with Ethan. They're in a weak division despite Tennessee. I'm going to take the Ravens in this game, though.
All right, Bob.
Yeah, I'm picking the Ravens. Baltimore's got a tougher team, I think. I don't know. They just strike me as more physical, and they can outman the Colts.
All righty, Mike.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore. It's going to be, I think, a close game. I think it's going to be a running game for Baltimore.
All right, Baltimore across the board. Here's a very interesting matchup. Maybe I think this will be a great game, actually. The 6-1 Seahawks at the 6-2 Buffalo Bills. The Bills are in prime position to win the AFC East for the first time since '95, I think.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. Russell Wilson,
Flutie, right?
Huh?
Wasn't it the first time since Doug Flutie in '99?
Yeah,
Might have been
that's about
99,
right.
but
Yeah.
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been 20 plus years.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
The Bills have been questionable lately against good teams. I mean, they were even questionable against the Pats last week, who's a bad team. And man, I hate saying that. But I'm going to go with Seattle on this one. Mike, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you on Seattle, too. Seattle wins the high-scoring game.
All right. I like it. Bob.
Actually, I'm picking the Bills. I hope to jinx them so that they'll be out.
We need like a sound effect with a cool graphic. Bob's upset of the week.
And you got to.
I'll work on it. Let me go through my book here, and I'll find all the details for that.
We also need one for Bob's tie of the week.
Yes.
Bob's tie of the week.
The only person I ever knew to pick a tie.
I just gave him the win that week. I don't even think I counted. He just deserved the win that week.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Andy, who do you got?
I'm taking the Seahawks. I think the Patriots actually exposed the Bills last week. I think they're overrated, to be honest with you. Just my opinion, but Russell Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I just I don't think I think the Seahawks are going to win this pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think the Bills are good, but I don't think they're elite. I
They're
think
not.
they're a one and done wild
That's
weekend.
better. Yeah, they're okay, but no, they're not elite. They're not on that level with Pittsburgh or Kansas City. Like
They're a maybe get by wild card weekend and get knocked out type of team.
yeah, just don't depend on Josh Allen.
Right.
No.
Exactly. Ethan, who do you got?
I think the Seahawks could represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. Russell Wilson, I think he's primed to finally win or at least get a vote for MVP this year. DK Metcalf, I'm so mad the Patriots picked N'Keal Harry over him. He's a beast.
Yeah, Belichick hasn't been too good in the draft lately for like 5-6 years.
But I mean, we'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. Like we've said, the Bills are a good team, not great team. I think the Seahawks, while their defense is questionable, is a great team.
All right, I like it. Bob went with Buffalo, so he could get a big win over us. We shall see. 3-4 Broncos at the 2-6 Atlanta Falcons. Well, the Broncos beat the Patriots, so they must be pretty good. What did Atlanta do? Oh,
The
yeah, they
Hills
beat
could beat the
Carolina last
Patriots.
week. Yeah, I think so. It's in Atlanta. I don't know, maybe Atlanta's getting hot. They beat a decent Carolina team. I'll go Atlanta on this one. Let's start off with Andy.
I'm going to actually take the Broncos. That was a very impressive win, winning with no time left on the clock against the Chargers last week. You know, this isn't really your old
Ooh,
school
that was
Broncos.
a good one.
Yeah,
It's really not your old school Broncos team, but they kind of seem to paste together some good wins here.
Speaking of that, the Chargers, I think, are the first team in NFL history for 3 straight weeks to blow a lead of 17 points or more.
Oh, they're trying to be the Falcons?
Falcons.
Yeah. I can't wait till they play each other. That's going to be awesome. They're both going to just be trying to lose the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to take the Broncos. I think this is a team you might have to keep your eye on. They're not a bad defense. They got a pretty decent running game, and if Noah Fant can get healthy, he's a solid tight end. Drew Lock is playing well. John
All
Elway
right.
knows quarterbacks.
Yeah,
All right, Mike, who do you got?
I'm this close to being with you, Andy. You know, Drew Lock, fantastic. But this has a chance to be the high-score game, and I think Matt Ryan's going to get the best of Denver's defense. And even though it's hard for me to say it, I am going Atlanta because it's also in Atlanta. So,
All right, Mr. Viking, what do you got?
Oh, I'm going with the Broncos,
Oh, boy.
the team
Wow.
from Denver, the Mile High.
Mile high salute
Yeah.
to you, Bob.
There's nothing more exciting than Bob's picks.
There's nothing more well thought out than my picks either.
Oh, he has a whole breakdown. He has like mathematical equations written out.
I even got a coin I flipped in.
He's doing that. What do they call it? The analytics.
Yeah, exactly.
Ethan, what do you got?
I mean, Andy makes some great points about the Broncos. I mean, they've been playing well. I think that win against the Patriots kind of gave that team some confidence.
Yeah.
But the Falcons, they also finally got some confidence by not blowing a fourth quarter lead for once. I'm gonna go with the Broncos because they've been playing a little bit more consistent than Atlanta.
All right, we're gonna go a little quicker tempo through these next picks because everybody wants to hear every game we're picking, so we want to make sure that we get them all in. We have the 4-3 Raiders at the 2-5 Chargers. The Chargers have blown 3 17-point leads. Give me the Raiders. Bob.
Raiders.
Mike.
Raiders.
Andy.
I like the Raiders. This is another team I think that's playing well, but Justin Herbert is the real deal though for the Chargers, no doubt about it. but I'm taking the Raiders.
All right, Ethan.
Yeah, I love Justin Herbert too.
Yeah.
But I think the Chargers are trying to be the Falcons, so I'm gonna go with the Raiders.
Raiders. I like it. The 7-0 undefeated Steelers at the 2-6 Cowboys. I'm just going to put Pittsburgh down unless anyone absolutely wants the Cowboys.
Well, let me check my stats first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Steelers. Okay.
Get that computer system out.
Bob's got a bunch of spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Here's a team that's coming around, I think. Well, two teams. The
Two.
4-3 Miami Dolphins at the 5-2 Arizona Cardinals. Look out, Buffalo. Miami, they might get up there with you. I think they're starting to come around a little bit. But I love Kyler Murray. I like what the Cardinals have done lately. That was a great win the other week against Seattle a couple weeks ago. And did they win last week?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or did they not play? I don't think they played.
They were
actually.
on bye week.
Oh, they
that's
want
right.
to buy. So, well, they technically won.
Cardinals?
then.
Yes. I'm going Arizona on this one. Bob, what do you got?
Actually, I picked the Dolphins on this one.
Ah. All right, Mike.
Arizona.
Okay, Andy.
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm also taking the Dolphins as well. Tua.
Have you guys been talking to each other on the side here?
All right. Like, we
Wow.
got to team up on these guys.
If
Ethan,
it wasn't for the headphones, I couldn't tell the difference between the two of you.
Yeah.
I like Kyler Murray a lot, and even though the Dolphins won last week, I don't like how the Dolphins moved on from Fitzmagic when they've been playing well, and Fitzmagic has been playing well. It just seems very weird and out of the blue.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to get the rookie in there because he's the future of that team. But it wasn't because of him they won last week. They had a
Right.
pick six, I believe, and a
I mean, they
kickoff
played
or
the Jets, so
right.
So,
Oh, that's
he
true.
didn't have to do much.
That win almost doesn't count. This is the best Sunday night football game in a long time. The 5-2 Saints, Drew Brees against Tom Brady and the 6-2 Buccaneers. I think the Bucs get their revenge. I'm going with Tampa Brady. Bob, who do you got?
Yeah, I picked the Bucks too. I think that they're on a good roll, and I don't think that the Saints are going to stop them this week.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Patriots South for this one. Yep.
I like it. Andy.
I'm taking the Saints. I think this is a bad matchup with Tampa Bay. I do not like the way Tampa played that last year, and Antonio Brown's going to ruin this team.
Oh, they didn't play good last week for sure.
Yeah.
No.
But they did play really good against the Packers the week before, so they're kind of a little up and down too. Ethan, who do you got?
I think Tom is going to be motivated, but I think, and I could be wrong, I think Tom is no, that's not true. Anyway, I think Tom's going to be motivated. This Buccaneers team is going to be motivated after that week 1 loss to the Saints. It's in Tampa.
All right.
I'm going to go with the Bucs.
I like it. All right, we're going to pick this one super fast. Oh, we ran out of time to talk about the 2-5 Pats. What a shame.
Oh.
I mean, to be honest, I think they're playing the Jets. I think the Jets are going to go 0-16 this year. I think the Patriots are going to win, and they've shown last week against Buffalo. They've shown promise on the offensive side of the ball. They just need to shore up that run defense.
All right, is anyone going with the 0-8 Jets?
I am.
Oh,
Oh, welcome to the
Tank.
dark side, Andy.
It's time to tank for Trevor Lawrence.
and your weekly picks. No. It
taking
very
the
well
Jets.
may be. If they lose to the Jets, I'm done watching the Patriots this season. I'm going to
Time to
buy
take-
all kinds of Bucks gear, and that's going to be it.
Tank for Trevor, guys.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. For Bob Hamilton, Mike Terosian, Andy Barron, Ethan Winter, I'm Tom Nappy. This has been HCAM Sports Talk Live. Catch us every Wednesday at 3 p.m. till 4 p.m. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good one, everybody. And we'll see you next time.